verse found in the Antya-lila, chapter 12, verse 1. Krishnadas Kaviraj is telling all Gaura Bhakta Vrindas, Shriyatam Nityam, Giyatam Mudha, Chintyaitam Bhaktas, Chaitanya Charita Mritam. What Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, the all devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted, and meditated upon with great happiness. This is the request of the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially during this period of the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should celebrate Gaura Purnima by constantly hearing, chanting, and meditating on the glorious pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this will enhance our spiritual life, it will purify our existence, and make us eligible to receive the mercy Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought to the world. So in that regard, I've taken a verse from Mandya Lila chapter 12, 180. 12, 180. And the topic of discussion is the wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the verse says, Kahan Bhattacharya Purvajada Vyavaharaha Kahan Ehi Paramanda Karaha Vicharaha Kahan Bhattacharya Purvajadaha Jada Vyavaraha Kahan Bhattacharya Purvajada Vyavaharaha Kahan E Paramananda Karaha Vicharaha Kahan Bhattacharya Purvajada Vyavaharaha Kahan E Paramananda Karaha Vicharaha. Word for word translation. Kahan, where Bhattacharya or Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Purvaha, previous, Jada Vyavaraha, material behavior. Kahan, where thus, this, Paramananda, transcendental bliss. Karaha Vichara, just try to consider. The translation says, after serving Bhattacharya with first-class prasadam, Gopinath Acharya said, just consider what the Bhattacharya's previous mundane behavior was. Just consider how at present he is enjoying transcendental bliss. And Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was previously a Smarta Brahmana, that is, one who strictly follows the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. On the mundane platform, one cannot believe that prasadam is transcendental, that Govinda is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that a Vaishnav is a liberated person. These transcendental considerations are out of the ordinary Vedic scholars' jurisdiction. Most Vedic scholars are called Vedantists. These so-called followers of Vedanta philosophy consider the absolute truth to be impersonal. They also believe that a person born in a particular caste cannot change his caste until he dies and takes rebirth. The Smarta Brahmanas also reject the fact that Mahaprasad, food offered to the deity, is transcendental and materially uncontaminated. Originally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was subjected to all the rules and regulations of the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. Now Gopinath Acharya pointed out how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had been converted by the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being converted, Sarvabhauma partook of prasadam with the Vaishnavas. Indeed, he sat by the side of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Om Jnana Timiridasya Jnanam Jnanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sohoguna Ragunastam Bitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Bitam Sya. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavanishwari Brishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Ivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayate grim yatri patamahan vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandala Kram Vyaptayina Characharam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So from this verse, we can see the transformative nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. After serving the Bhattacharya with first-class prasadam, Gopinath Acharya said, just consider what the Bhattacharya's previous mundane behavior was. Just consider how at present he is enjoying transcendental bliss. So this statement made by Gopinath Acharya is applicable to all of us, because before we came in touch with Krishna consciousness, before we received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his very wonderful devotees who were leading a different life. I can speak for myself that I was leading a very sinful life, breaking all the rules and regulations of religious principles. And I was thinking I am enjoying, even though I was suffering. Material existence means suffering. Dukalayam asaswatam, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, the material existence is an ocean of suffering. But the ignorant living entity covered by the modes, especially the lower modes of passion and ignorance, he thinks he is enjoying. And so, life after life, one is swimming in the ocean of suffering, thinking he is enjoying. But somehow or the other, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has come, he has appeared, and his mission is to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, to remove the veil of Maya that has covered our vision, it has covered our minds, it has covered our hearts, and make us accept suffering as pleasure. That is the very special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when a living entity somehow or the other receives that mercy, then he begins his path of Krishna consciousness, and he gives up that sinful path of sense gratification. So here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was considered the topmost scholar in Puri. And he was being worshipped by everyone in Puri as the greatest scholar. And so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas and ordered by his mother, Sachimata, to go to Puri instead of going to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu's desire after taking sannyas was to go to Vrindavan. But when he met his mother in Shantipur, Advaita Acharya's house, Sachimata requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay in Puri, because Puri and Bengal, Orissa and Bengal are like two rooms in one building. He would hear news about his son, and the son can also hear news about his old mother. But if he went all the way to Vrindavan, there will be no news. So based on the order of Sachimata, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Puri. And when he arrived in Puri and saw Lord Jagannath, he could not control his emotions. He could not control his love. He ran towards Lord Jagannath. Actually, he would have merged into Lord Jagannath. But somehow or the other, because he has to save all of us, he fainted. At that particular moment, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was present. In fact, it is said that the Pandas, they actually wanted to beat the Lord, because it was unheard of that somebody comes into the temple and is running towards the deities to embrace Jagannath. But somehow, due to intense emotions, he fainted. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was right there. So he became attracted to the beauty of this young sannyasi. And so he ordered the sannyasi, who was in a state of bhav, he was in trance. He ordered that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be transported to his house. And that is how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gained the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his life got transformed. So it is our fortune to have come across this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that is facilitating our spiritual progress. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham Deham Astitam. Now the Lord comes into the material world for no other purpose. He comes simply to engage in pastimes that will attract the conditioned souls. The Lord has no business with the material creation. The material creation is meant for the conditioned souls. Material creation is meant for the Nitya Baddhas. Even the material creation is not meant for the Nitya Siddhas. The Nitya Siddhas, they have no business with the material creation. They are relishing Krishna's association in the spiritual world, and they have no business to come into the material creation. So the material creation is purposely for the Nitya Baddhas who want to lord it over material energy. They want to imitate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so the Lord gives them the material world to play around with. So the Lord has no business with the material world. But because the living entities are here, his children are here, he comes just to perform such wonderful pastimes so that these forgotten souls that are rotting in the material world, they can become attracted and they will take shelter of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was so fortunate to have met Lord Chaitanya in Lord Jagannath temple, and he became attracted to the beauty of the sannyasi, and so he took him to his house. And that was the beginning of the fortune of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's plan was to educate Lord Chaitanya. That was his plan. He felt this young sannyasi, he needs to study Vedanta Sutras. So let me take him to my house and let me educate him on Vedanta Sutra, because he was known as the topmost philosopher, the topmost jnani, the topmost scholar in Puri, and therefore he was proud of his position, and therefore he thought he could teach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did not know that that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a disguise of a devotee, just to attract the minds of the conditioned souls. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as we all know, when the Lord Chaitanya was revived by his associates, when Lord Nityananda and the other devotees arrived in Puri, and then they started looking for Lord Chaitanya, and they were told that he fainted, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had carried him to his house. They went there, and they saw the Lord in trance. And so they know how to retrieve the Lord from his trance. They began to chant the holy names of the Lord very loudly, the Hare Krishna mantra very loudly into the ears of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And immediately, Lord Chaitanya came back to external consciousness, to the joy of the devotees and to the joy of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya decided that this young sannyasi, let me do him some favor. Let me teach him Vedanta Sutra. But actually, Lord Chaitanya had come to Puri to do Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya a favor. Actually, what kind of favor can a living entity do to the Lord? No favor. The Lord comes to do us a favor. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to establish this preaching mission, the Sankirtan movement, for us. He is doing us as a favor. It's an engagement for the living entity. Besides being the process of purification, it also gives us engagement. So, by chanting Hare Krishna, we become purified. And then the next thing to do is to also give that opportunity to others to also chant. So, when the Lord comes into the material world, he comes to purify us and also give us the opportunity to serve. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to establish this Sankirtan movement. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami say, Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Bhavam Ritahiyaha Aswadyan Swadhyayam Bhaktam Preman Diksham Asikshayat. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came purposely to taste the nectar of the holy names of Krishna, the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, the nectar of Krishna's love. And then he initiated his followers into the same nectar. And he instructed the whole world to chant the names of Krishna. And by such activity, everyone becomes glorious. As it has been demonstrated in the life of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and in our own lives. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he descended into this world with the prime purpose of inaugurating the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. He tasted it himself. He practices himself. He relished himself. And then he taught the world how to be happy. The process of becoming happy is to constantly chant Krishna's names all the time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as the embodiment of mercy. Devam tam karunanavam. He's the embodiment of mercy. He's the embodiment of compassion. He's the embodiment of magnanimity. He's so magnanimous that he appeared in this age of Kali just to give us the process of Krishna consciousness. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says here, Adbhuta Niguda Premara Madhurya Mahima Apana Aswadi Prabhu De Kaila Simiha. Ecstatic love for Krishna is wonderfully very deep. By personally tasting the glorious sweetness of love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us its extreme end. Furthermore, he says, Albhuta Dayalo Chaitanya, Albhuta Vandanyanya, Ache Dayalo Dataloke Nahi Suni Anyaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is wonderfully merciful. He's wonderfully magnanimous. He's wonderfully very kind. We have heard of no one else within these three worlds who is so merciful and so charitable. So therefore, all people of this world worship the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all respects. Only in this way will you achieve the nectarian treasure of ecstatic love for Krishna. So the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to give everyone the chance to taste the sweetness of Krishna's names. And Srila Prabhupada sacrificed his life to make sure that the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is fulfilled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the holy names of Krishna to spread all over the whole world. And Srila Prabhupada, he was empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to carry the holy names of Krishna across the ocean and to travel to all the continents of this world and establish the process of Krishna consciousness so that everyone will get the chance to chant Krishna's names. And as a result, the whole world is chanting Krishna's names. Before Srila Prabhupada's time, before Srila Prabhupada went to America, there were no Vaishnavas around the world. You could only find Vaishnavas in India. And even then, very limited numbers, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But when Srila Prabhupada took upon himself to carry the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world, even without resources, he had no money, he had no followers, he had no support. Alone, Srila Prabhupada struggled for an entire year without any support. But he never gave up. His only property was the holy name. Prabhupada would go to Tompkins Square Park with his bongo drum, and he would chant for 3 hours the holy names of Krishna. And he set a vibration of the holy names in Tompkins Square. And anybody who came within that place was influenced by such spiritual vibration. Gradually, the young boys and girls of America, of New York City, they became attracted to the vibrations of the holy name. And they would get up and dance when Prabhupada would chant. And gradually, by participating in Kirtan, they were getting purified. And so they followed Prabhupada to his residence. And gradually, Srila Prabhupada trained those devotees and empowered them to travel to different parts of the world and establish this Krishna consciousness. And today, we have millions and millions of devotees all around the world, all chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is glorious. Srila Prabhupada, he has done what no man has done. Spreading the holy names throughout the 7 continents and giving the opportunity to every living entity to hear the names of Krishna, chant the names of Krishna, take Krishna Prashadam. What a wonderful mercy. So we are all very fortunate. Bhajavan Jivas, we are all very fortunate to have come across Lord Chaitanya's mission by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And so we urge everybody, please take this mission very seriously. It is the only mission that will save the world. In fact, there are some mystics who said that because of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the world has been saved from a 3rd World War. The world had always gone to the brink of a world war, 3rd World War. But because the number of people chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is increasing day by day by the preaching activities of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the whole world is saved from the 3rd World War. And therefore, we urge everybody, please take this chanting very seriously. Never play with your rounds of japa. It will purify you, it purifies the atmosphere, and it gives others a chance to also participate in this Krishna consciousness. Another pastime that is worth taking note of is when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went down south. He went on his South Indian tour to Kurukshetra. He met one Brahmana, Kurma Das, and he stayed with him. And then the news about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread that this beautiful sannyasi, young sannyasi, was so powerful, so wonderful. If you see him, you immediately feel bliss just by seeing him. So many people were coming to see Lord Chaitanya. But the next morning, Lord Chaitanya at dawn had left on his tour. So there was one particular devotee, his name is Vasudev. He was a Brahmin, but he was afflicted with leprosy. And his whole body was oozing with pus. Nobody wanted to get near to this Brahmana. His whole body was infested with worms. There were big, big worms in the sores of his leprosy. His body was smelling. So when he heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit, he wanted to have darshan of the Lord. So early in the morning, he went to Kurma's house to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he got there, the Lord had already left. So when he got there and learned the Lord Chaitanya had left, he began to lament. He began to cry. And he fell down on the ground and fainted, that he has missed the opportunity to receive the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord is the super soul in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hiride sanivisto mata smriti gyanam apohanam cha. Krishna is seated in the heart of every living entity. So immediately, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that one devotee is very desirous of getting my mercy, of seeing me. So immediately, even though Lord Chaitanya had gone a distance away from Kurma's house, he returned. Instantly, he appeared in Kurma's house and embraced this leper. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya embraced this leper Vasudev, instantly his leprosy disappeared. The worms, the sores, the oozing, all disappeared. And Vasudev became a very beautiful, very handsome young man. To everyone's surprise, Vasudev was so blissful. So he said, Aneka prakara vilapta karite lagalya se shane yashi prabhura tanere alingila. When Vasudeva the leper Brahmana was lamenting due to not being able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately returned to that spot and embraced him. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him, both the leprosy and his distress were sent to a distant place. Indeed, Vasudev's body became very beautiful to his great happiness. So just by the touch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the miseries of Vasudeva were dispatched to a distant place. And immediately, his life became very blissful. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here to dispel our miseries. He is here to embrace us. And how does he embrace us? By giving us the holy name. Anyone who is chanting the names of Krishna is actually embracing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Das Kavrai says, Krishna Nam, Krishna Gun, Krishna Leela, Krishnera Sarupa, Sarvachit Ananda. That Krishna's name, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form, they are all transcendently blissful. And whoever comes in contact with any of these is in touch with Krishna. So therefore, by chanting Krishna's names, we are actually touching Krishna's body. We are embracing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the more we chant, the more we relish that association. And then we also become instruments to help others become fortunate. Actually, that is how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed his mercy. Anybody who saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became fortunate. Mahaprabhu would instruct him to chant the holy names. And such persons, when they go to their villages or their places of residence, they will also become instruments, and they will also induce others to chant the holy names of Krishna. And in this way, the chanting of the holy names of Krishna spread like wildfire, bringing good fortune to everyone. So that is our great fortune. So when Vasudeva, the leper, was embraced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he immediately went through such transformation, his heart was full of joy. And he began to think, Kwaham daridra papiyam, kwa Krishna sriniketane, Brahma Bandur itis maham, bahubhyam parirambitaha. That even though I'm such an unqualified living entity, such a sinful living entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has embraced me with his glorious arms. So the living entity, especially the fallen conditioned souls, what is our fortune? We have no good fortune. That is why we are in the material world. But out of the costless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord comes and gives us the opportunity to render some service, give us some opportunity to chant his names, give us some opportunity to render, to preach his glories to others. So this is the Lord's mercy. So every one of us, we should become an instrument in spreading Krishna consciousness and giving everyone the opportunity to get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions? It's already 9 o'clock. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the class and sharing how our lives have been transformed by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, how we should take advantage of it and share that mercy with others after practicing ourselves. My question is in the context of Kurma Brahman, the Kurma
Yeah,
Brahman.
yeah.
So, and he also praises Lord Chaitanya by using these words that I am sinful and I have been embraced by Krishna. We understand that he must be an eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya. But then, like in philosophical terms, like if somebody is sinful, so they are not able to understand Krishna. Sin takes you away from understanding Krishna. So how to understand is that his body was so much, which reflects sin. Suffering comes because of sins. So I understand that he's an associate, but then also so how to understand that even such a person could get Lord Chaitanya's mercy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your question. Some of these manifestations of seemingly suffering for such great devotees is actually meant to demonstrate the supreme mercy, the supreme potency of the Lord. Even though he was such an exalted person and had the association of Lord Chaitanya, a tight embrace of Lord Chaitanya, he had to undergo such an arrangement to enable this pastime to take place. So it may appear that he was suffering, it may appear that he was sinful, but actually it is an arrangement for this particular pastime to take place so that we can appreciate Lord Chaitanya's mercy more and more. Even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is also an associate of Lord Chaitanya. But he played the role of a Jnani so that the Lord would deliver him and demonstrate how the Lord's mercy is unlimited. The Lord's mercy is for everybody. Even Prakashananda and his thousands of disciples, they also got the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, the understanding is whatever activities, whatever situations that were created to facilitate the Lord's pastimes, they are not material. They are just arranged so that the Lord can perform those glorious pastimes and attract the conditioned souls to his mercy. So, Vasudev's suffering is an arrangement to project the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by seeing such projection of the mercy, it attracted many more souls to take the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Does that answer your question? Hare Krishna. Any other question or comment? Just stand here this way. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I think a similar situation arose when Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. When Krishna recommended the yoga process to Arjuna, Arjuna complained that, my dear Krishna, this mind is chanchalam. So how can I perform such yoga? How can I meditate when the mind will not allow me? And Krishna told Arjuna, Abhyasena to counteya varagyanacha grihate. It says by constant practice and detachment. These are the methods. These two methods are what will control the mind. By constant practice and by detachment. What is the constant practice? Mahaprabhu has given us the process. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the constant practice. And then we have to detach the mind from sense gratification. The mind is always running after sense pleasure. That is the problem with the mind. And so, the mind takes control of our lives. We live in the mind instead of living in the heart. So therefore, if we constantly chant the holy names of Krishna, and we also practice detachment from sense gratification, then it becomes possible for the mind to detach from its environment and hear the holy name. In fact, the solution is to chant the holy names attentively, to chant the holy names carefully, to hear the sound vibration of the holy names, and gradually the mind becomes attracted to the sound vibration. And when the mind becomes attracted to the sound vibration, then one can relish the sweetness of the holy name. So the solution is attentive chanting. That is what we have to practice. Attentive chanting. In the beginning, we chant with offenses. That is natural. But as we try to improve the quality of our chanting, then we shall migrate from the offensive platform aparat nam to namabas, when the offenses are minimized. And from the namabas, one can now go to Sudanam. When we are able to chant Sudanam, then our chanting becomes perfect. So the whole life, we are trying to chant the holy names properly, attentively. And if we are able to succeed in chanting attentively, we can experience the potency, the bliss, the joy of the holy name. So the challenge is how to chant these names attentively. That is the biggest challenge in the practice of bhakti. And anyone who is able to chant the holy names with attention, he will immediately begin to relish the holy names. I always recommend that the best way to chant the holy names attentively is to do a lot of kirtan. In my early days as a devotee, we were fortunate to have the association of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And his life is kirtan. He will lead kirtan for 2-3 hours. And whether it is in the temple or Harinam outside. And he will make everybody dance and sweat. And if you absorb yourself in that chanting and dancing, you would see that when you go to do your japa, the japa becomes much more better. So I noticed that if I perform very nice Sundarati Kirtan, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours Kirtan, the next morning, the japa becomes improved. The japa becomes relishable. The japa becomes very wonderful. So my recommendation is, if you want to improve your japa, do a lot of kirtan. During kirtan, thinking stops. During kirtan, bodily consciousness goes away. During kirtan, social etiquette is no more considered. And that is the time the holy name penetrates the mind, it penetrates the heart. So more kirtan will improve our japa. Does that answer your question? Yes, Hare Krishna. Any comments, question? Somebody wants? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes.
And we have a lot of impressions in our life, right? How to get rid of those impressions, because at the end of the day, we want to get detached from each and every experience from our life. What should we do as a devotee?
Thank you. Thank you. A very important question. Everybody comes into this world with a baggage. This body is a baggage of trouble. What we have done in our previous lives to get this bag of trouble, we don't know. So everybody is carrying his baggage, a lot of impressions. But the good thing is, we are in the association of devotees. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says, Sadhu Sangha Krishna Kripa Bhakti Swabhava. Sadhu Sangha Krishna Kripa Bhaktire Swabhava. That in the association of devotees, one can get the mercy of Krishna. And by the very nature of bhakti, one can make advancement. So the first principle in Krishna consciousness is to gain the association of devotees. And that is why Srila Prabhupada created the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Upadeshamrita that we have created a society, this International Society of Devotees, to give facility for those who want to practice Krishna consciousness to associate with the devotees. So you are in the right place. And so long as we keep associating with devotees, the impressions will go. So long as we are hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the impressions will go. So long as we are participating in worship of the Supreme Lord, taking Krishna Prashadam, those impressions will be washed away. And one day, we will feel complete freedom from those impressions. That is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter who we are. Lord Chaitanya, in the distribution of his mercy, patra apatra vichare stane stane. It doesn't matter. He did not consider who is qualified and who is not qualified. He didn't consider where to give the mercy and where not to give the mercy. He didn't consider the location. All that mattered to him is to give out the mercy. So long as you are associating with the devotees and participating in this sublime process of Krishna consciousness, guaranteed, you will be freed from those impressions. Srila Prabhupada gave the analogy that when you sit near fire, the heat of the fire will come to you gradually. And so long as you remain sitting near the fire, your body will become warmer and warmer and warmer until you become like fire. So long as we remain in the devotees association, it is possible that we can wipe clean all these impressions and become free. I actually said, just by chanting one holy name, all sinful reactions, all impressions can be nullified just by chanting one pure name. So the goal is to be able to chant one pure name. That is our goal. And so we should put more attention to chanting attentively. As soon as we are able to chant one pure name of Krishna, all the accumulated karma, impressions will all be cleared, and we shall begin to experience a different dimension of existence, a blissful existence. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. It is a fact that the process of Krishna consciousness means a process of surrender. And actually, that's Krishna's desire. That's Krishna's wish. That's Krishna's order Sarva dharma parityajya. Krishna says, surrender unto me totally. Srila Jiva Goswami comments on this verse. He said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete.